I was on a lunch date, and I looked to my right. I was like, "That's Jesse Jackson." And then the girl that I was with also saw like that was Jesse Jackson. So I was thinking, you know what? I gotta find a way to impress her. And I do need an interview for the book. At the same time,
how can you get time with nearly anyone? Well, in today's episode, I'm going to talk about the ultimate cheat code to be able to get people's attention and get them to be willing to spend their precious time with you. Listen, time is precious, particularly for busy people. And so when you're young and ambitious, how do you wind up getting attention to the people you admire, the people you want to meet, the people you want to work with, the people you want to get to hire you? Well, it turns out there's actually something really interesting about the psychology of asking people when they realize that you're serious about it. Now, if someone were to reach out to you and say, hey, listen, I would like to chat with you for an informational interview, it suddenly feels like work to us. On the other hand, if we reach out and say, hey, listen, I'd like for you to be on my podcast, or I want to feature you in this course that I'm doing, or maybe I want to have you be interviewed for my book, suddenly things happen. So on this episode, you're going to meet a few of my recent authors and hear how they were able to unlock incredible opportunities with people that they thought were out of their reach simply by asking differently. And that's the magic of this. When you have something that you're working on, something you're creating, the ability for you to reach out, get awesome people to be a part of it, and really learn interesting things goes up exponentially.
So I waited, and then he lifted up. He's this really macho guy. I'm like, damn, how am I supposed to talk to him? But I was like, you know what? And I told her, I was like, you know what? I'm going to talk to Jesse. I call him Jesse because I was trying to be casual, I was like, I'm going to go talk to Jesse. She's like, no way. And I got up and I started interviewing him. And it was great, and he gave me actually some really good content about, I'm not gonna lie, he was talking about Trump and everything that's happening with the current administration, but he was able to articulate everything into 1 or 2 sentences. And I was like, man, he's so bloody articulate. It was awesome. I was so starstruck, and even though I was trying to impress someone, it was so amazing that if you have that self-confidence, even in a moment's time, you can talk to anybody, and they're so appreciative, how you taught us. It wasn't about, he didn't reject me. He wasn't like, oh, go away, you peasant. He was just like, yeah, I'm more than happy. It would be an honor if you interviewed me. I was like, damn, people are so nice.
I thought at some point during my marketing process, honestly, when I was looking for quotes, I just wasn't getting a quote. And eventually Tim Draper, big name in VC out in Silicon Valley, he responded to me and was like, yeah, I think this is spot on, and eventually endorsed my book. So that's pretty awesome to feel validated.
I think the coolest thing was realizing how connected the network that I was reaching out to was. When I talked to Stephanie Palmieri, she referred me to Trey Basayo, who wrote The Elephant in the Valley, that survey, which was cool. So each of the women I interviewed, they would refer me to somebody else to interview with another cool story, and so it's a very virtuous cycle. I definitely really liked talking to Stephanie Palmieri. She had such an interesting story where she crashed on her friend's floor for 2 weeks, just decided to move across the country with no kind of certainty of where she was going to end up, and ended up becoming a VC out of it, which I think was very ballsy and really cool.
I feel like I talked to so many people, along the way, even in the beginning, I was excited, I talked to all these, famous, food Instagrammers, Jessica Hirsch for Cheat Day Eats, Jeremy Jacobowitz for Brunch Boys, and, then I started talking to marketing people, so Jen Pelka, she founded Magnum PR, and she has her own, champagne bar in San Francisco, and, Holly List, there were just so many people that I was able to speak to, which was really interesting. Well, I think I realized that it was more of social media kind of became a marketing mecca, and you see it every day, and it kind of took me a while to realize that was it. At first I was just seeing restaurants and good pictures of food, and I was like, oh, I want to go there, I want this, but there's actually so much science and thought that goes into it to make it what it is.
Growing up, I did martial arts since I was 5 years old, and so that's an environment that you're surrounded by boys a lot, and so growing up through that was a really interesting experience for me, and it's made me someone who gets along really well with guys, and I have a lot of guy friends, and so I wanted to explore other women succeeding in fields like that, and so I wanted to be able to tell the stories of other people who had similar experiences to me. I just got to talk to so many incredible women. They were so willing to help me. I think there's kind of like a special network almost when you have women like that where they really want to help you. And something that they kind of emphasized over and over again was that they always tried to find other women that they could help. And so that was really cool. And then just hearing kind of the stories of how they kind of persevered through some very crazy things, honestly.